Hey, I'm sitting in a camper in Seward, Alaska, uh, property of Wilbur Graves, and I'm helping him make his cabin. Um, those are the facts. And now for the feelings. It is July 29, and earlier this month I purposed that I would make videos and post them to Facebook. One of my purposes was that I wanted to make a podcast that I myself would want to listen to. And I have failed in a lot of things, and this is one of them. I put it off for so many days, and then it got to a point where, since I hadn't done it yesterday, it was easier not to do it today. But I still want to put something out there, and it's not like I hadn't been generating ideas, and I have been about ideas my entire life. And I was just thinking, when I was in college, my freshman year, something in my head made me want to be a writer. And my roommate, Jason Chester, and I started writing and, journaling, and my ear itches. And my journey to be a writer. And in John Smith's American literature class, I was fascinated by the stories, not of the actual writers themselves, but of the biographies. And I purposed in my heart that year, that early moment in my history as a person, to have a biography worthy of that American literature book. And I was going to write, because I had already determined that, and whatever it is that I wrote, I was always thinking that my biography would be better than the literature. And yeah, I was a friend of mine posted something on Facebook today. He's a young man, 30 years old, and he's having some existential questions and crises. And I was thinking about you today, and I was thinking about this big, huge question. If it was different than you had expected, would you still have wanted to do it the way that you did it? And there's so many, we who are believers in the Lord Jesus as Messiah, believe that, our purpose is to help people. When people send out calls for help, we want to answer that call for help. And there is a favorite passage of mine, and it revolutionized my life and just the way I see everything, because I used to be a pastor, or a preacher, whatever you want to call it. Because I know a lot of people that don't call it pastor. But anyway, when I was doing that as my life work, I got exchanged for money. You feel a great responsibility for pulling people up, helping people out, giving them information that gives about the transformation. And the cool thing about the way the Lord does that is it actually works a lot of times. But this passage, and they will all be taught by God. And you can look it up. You can Google it yourself. Because it ain't my job to quote every passage for you. But because when it comes down to it, we can't really do much for anybody besides what the Lord himself can do. Because if we are taught by God, then God is the teacher. Sometimes he uses people's words. Sometimes he might use a video like this one to point you in a different directions. And to, you know, it's my objective to point to God. And my hero in this pursuit is the lady in John chapter 4, who was an outcast in her community, and once she met Yeshua, she ran around telling everybody. And some people didn't believe her. Some people still treated her like she was an outcast, but she still, her message was the same. Yeah, but he's Messiah. You should go see for yourself. And that's kind of like the message that my life has evolved into. Instead of being a pastor at a church that says, "Hey, everybody, come here. Let's talk about God." It's more like out in Seward, Alaska, or wherever you are, to go out and just point to God, because he's everywhere, so it shouldn't be that hard. And okay, one more thing that I have to say, because I'm sitting here looking at myself on this phone screen while I'm recording this. And have you ever done a self-portrait? Because if I did a self-portrait right now, what I'm seeing is not what I imagine myself to be. I don't know if any of you have that idea either, but I mean, the white hair and the white beard, I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know what I have as an alternate imagination for myself, but like when I'm in my head, when I'm in my dreams, you know, if I were to see that guy in the mirror, I just kind of wouldn't even believe it. But I guess when you've put on 47 years, it's a surprise. But I'm very grateful, and life is really good, and God is really merciful and patient and kind, and life is worth it. And it is not going to be as we expect it to be. I suspect that is the case for every instance of human being that there is. So, love.